those kind of old school sayings of like you kind of really learn your real friends very, very quickly as you get older, and that
Yeah.
circle gets smaller and smaller. And it just so happens that my best friends, most of them, 99% of them, they're outside this like whatever this circle is that we're in.
What is going on, people? Jumping in on this podcast to let you know about our incredible sponsors, Trained by JP, aka TBJP, the one-stop shop for all your bodybuilding needs. Whether you're looking for supplements or clothing, they have it all. Quite possibly the biggest range of subs you will find anywhere in the world, end of. Whether you're looking for pre-workouts, stim-free or high-stim, intra-workout shakes, post-workout cream of rices, vegan supplements, it is all there for you, as well as the highest grade of health subs that you will need in your arsenal. Check them out. It's www.tb-jp.com, and on there you will also find all the clothing which they release multiple times per year, but get your hands on them quick because they are limited drops. Use the discount code MAGIC10 for money off. Help the brother out, and let's get back to the podcast. Peace. Right, guys, welcome back to the Beautiful Struggle podcast with myself, Jay Davis, aka Magic Eye. Apologies for the slight delay in getting another episode done. Obviously, prep had me by the 𝘗𝘗𝘰𝘶𝘥𝘭𝘺, and I did a bit of traveling with the wife, but I'm back. Rushed, but I'm back. So we have another special guest in the house. I would call this guy one of the leaders of the new school when it comes to his current position in the fitness industry. Being very active in the social media space, but also remaining a professional in terms of his athlete career, so to speak, whilst obviously taking that very seriously. Progressing his physique goals, he's also leveled up as a businessman, taking his coaching to new heights and also creating his very successful company, 1MR, and taking the scene by storm with the brand, because I go to gyms all over the UK and I don't think I enter a gym that I don't see a set of 1MR cuffs hanging up. So without further ado, bringing on Mr. Josh Bridgman to the Beautiful Struggle, man. Welcome.
Thank you so much, mate. I appreciate that. I had a big smile when I was hearing that. I thought, wow, I appreciate that a lot.
Nice little rundown for you, man. You've achieved a lot, bro, because like obviously we've bumped into each other a few times over the years.
Yeah.
So I've kind of like seen the come up from afar, really. We've never really shot together, but I've always seen you on shoots, and I can see
for sure.
I see the graph that you've been putting in, like I said, as an athlete, but then, you know, you've seen everything behind the scenes as well. And well, you're currently in Canada living it up. So, you know, you're doing all right, man. You're doing all right.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you. I have to remember that sometimes. I think we all probably get in that place as well when we fly around the world. I mean, obviously you film and whatnot around the world.
Yeah.
You know how it is. You kind of get lost in that. Oh shit, this is real life actually. And those pinch me moments are so important. So
they call it the blur, don't they? The blur, because you're kind of so tunnel visioned.
Yeah.
Everything's going on around you, and I think it's a good thing not to kind of sit back and kind of give yourself a pat on the back, because you'll get complacent. So it is, it's a bit of, you know, one of those ones where you've got to like obviously take credit for the work that you put in, but at the same time, not too much credit, because you probably sit back with your feet up and
exactly,
get complacent, man. So you're in Canada right now.
Yep, I'm in Canada. I got here 2 weeks ago.
Is this like home for you at the minute?
Yeah, so I moved. Technically, I moved to my business to Dubai like last year in March. Was there for 6 weeks, and I felt that heat ramp up, and I was like, you know what, we need Plan B here. And because we were just Airbnb-ing at the time, I never got a chance to like put my roots in, and we were like, right, with my girlfriend, I was like, where should we go? Let's try figure somewhere out. Okay, well, I got a little bit of family in Canada. They got Pure Muscle, like the famous gym. I was like, should we try it? So we just went and tried it for the summer. We had about 10 weeks booked, and then we got here and we're like, let's just stay here until the visa's up in Dubai, because it's super hot until November, and then it's bearable. Went back in November, and then we were in Dubai for 6 months. Again, we only rented just to kind of like scout we wanted to spend a good amount of time like learning Dubai and understanding where we want to be for when we came back, and we got to that heat again, and we said should we go back to Canada. So yeah, we came back to Canada for prep. So I got here literally like a couple of days before I started my prep, got everything sorted, and then just going to do my entire prep here and then compete in the US.
That's cool though. It's good that you're able to kind of like bounce around like that, because obviously you said it's just you and your girlfriend. You've got not got
and Loki
and Loki. Loki. Shout out to Loki, by the way. But yeah, it's good that you're able to kind of bounce around and relocate, and obviously with your business that you've got that flexibility and freedom to do that, I guess, because you can work from anywhere in the world, you know.
For sure. That's something I want to do. That's something I've always wanted to do. And my missus has always had like a pretty in-person job, and then she quit like January last year. So we're like, right, this is the time. Time is now.
The time is now. It definitely is. Do you struggle with that Dubai heat? Yeah.
I don't struggle. Like I enjoy being in the sun all the time. It's just like I knew that in prep when you need that space, and you're in maybe an apartment. Maybe I could try and we were in an apartment. I needed to be a little bit more space. And you're in a space. You're in aircon. Okay, I'll go to the balcony for 2 minutes. Oh no, you can't. I'll go for a walk. Oh no, you can't. And you just kind of like, I'm a country boy. I need that I need that greenery. So Canada's like the perfect option otherwise.
Yeah, there's no way you go outside. There's just no oxygen, is it?
It's savage, you know. It's you got to get up at 6 a.m. and do your steps, or 10 p.m. And I'm like, well, I wake up at 8 and I go to bed at 10, so I'm not going to do that. So.
Yeah, no, Canada's definitely the better option, and obviously, like you said, you got 𝑚 there, which I've been blessed enough to get there once to train.
Oh, sweet, yeah. So it's really nice.
I know how sick it is, man, and content-wise, it's beautiful. As people know.
Yeah, it's really nice.
So you're staying in Canada for the full prep?
Yeah, I'll be here until like the middle of October.
Yeah.
Well, I'll leave from here in October, but in that time I'll fly to the States, compete, see what happens. And then depending on what's happening with that, we might either stay into the Olympia or watch the Olympia or
of course.
Or do it. But probably watch it, so we'll see.
Yeah. Well, if you're there, mate, and it's going to be a couple of weeks or whatever, just stay there. And
that's what I mean. It'll be a couple of weeks away.
Yeah. You've from like watching your stuff over the years, I know like your family and that. I think was it your dad that used to live away abroad?
Yeah, he still does as well. Yeah, he's in Cyprus now, but he used to live in Dubai actually.
In Dubai. Oh, okay. So yeah, because obviously a lot of people they kind of get like stuck to their roots. You know, they won't like to leave but because you've got that set up from like a young age, do you think that made it a lot easier for you to be able to travel around the world and just get up and go?
Yeah. You know what? I've thought about that as well, because I'm from a small little town. I go back, it's like I'm at school because all the boys are around, and it's like they're all doing the same thing still. So to get out of that, you need, I think, like the outside stimulus has to happen. And for me, I was super lucky, or not, depending on how you look at it. I'm taking the positives from this scenario. I had two, at the time when I was young as well, two parents who had pretty good, like middle class jobs, nothing crazy, but like together that household income with one single child, we got to go on holidays. I got to experience the world from 6 till whatever. I left and started doing this myself. So, and then when my dad moved, you learn that lifestyle. You think, oh, whoa, you're not, if you're in the village the whole time and then you go to Dubai, like that kind of contrast is different. So I didn't even know that stuff existed, but I got to know that much, much earlier. And when I tell stories of Dubai to these guys back home, they're like, I can't even understand it. So stop talking to me there.
What's it like with your boys? Because obviously, do you live a completely different kind of life to them? Like back?
Yeah, for sure. Like my best friend who can open his brain, that small town mentality. He's just a bricklayer, and that's what he's done since 18 and will do until he's like retired.
But he's still your best mate. And is it one of those ones where you may not speak for 6, 8, 10 months and then you just pick up where you left off?
Yeah, exactly. And it feels like nothing changed.
Those are the best ones, man. Because
for sure.
Obviously we both know from relationships you can kind of build up in the fitness industry with like just the way the scene is. Even though you feel like someone is like your boy, sometimes you can just, it's not.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Have you been through that yourself, would you say? I don't want you to like name dropping anyone, but in terms of like situations that you've been in throughout the last years, because I know I've been there myself. And this podcast is like quite an open podcast. You know, I'll talk about anything that you want to talk about. But would you say you've experienced those kind of things yourself?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. At all different levels as well, you know, which is just a big lesson to take for anyone to listen to. And it's hard to say, but you got to be careful of everyone. You really do, and you know, really try and enter a relationship. I don't know. From my experience, maybe just a little bit like, okay, let's try to figure each other out first, rather than just like super open-hearted. And that's who I am. I'm just like, I'm super naive. I fall into those scenarios very often. Sometimes with the same person multiple times, and I'm like, no, they've changed. Trust me, they're real nice in person. And then my missus calls me straight out on it. She's like, no, you need to sort this out. But you know what, like I said, all walks of life. So like on a personal level, right, on an influencer level, I've had it happen. I've had it on a business level. I've had it just like on a level where like you guys are just friends, and then you hear someone else talking what they said about you, and I'm like, well, I told you that in confidence. So I think you have it on every level. And that those kind of old school sayings about you kind of really learn your real friends very, very quickly as you get older, and that circle gets smaller and smaller. And it just so happens that my best friends, most of them, 99% of them, they're outside this, like, whatever this circle is that we're in.
Same. And like, I come from a small town in South Wales, so like my boys are all the boys I grew up with, in school with, completely outside of what I do and this life that we live. Like, so I know exactly what you mean. But it's one of those ones where you kind of got to keep people there, like, keep them close, tight, but just keep them there.
And then every now and again, like someone comes in, like very rarely, right? And then, you know, that's. But you know, if you're looking at a circle and you think like, I've got like 15 fucking good boys here, you think, oh, that's really, like, that's, you know, just wait a little bit longer, you know.
Time will tell, innit?
Yeah, exactly.
Time will tell, man. I was going to say, with regards to obviously these different places that you've lived, what would you say is like the biggest things you've noticed in terms of, if we're talking about the fitness industry, like the scenes, like the Dubai scene, the Canada scene, obviously the UK scene, what would you say is like the biggest difference you've seen from those?
Dubai is this like unique place on its own. It's like, you go there, it's your all guns blazing, and the melting pot of brains. Fitness wise, and we're talking like fitness business wise, coaching wise, influencer wise, it's just, there's so much different talent from so many different places that it's like, if the only way that you're not going to get better at what you're doing is if you go in with sunglasses on and your head down. Like, you just, you know, just by talking to people, to understanding what other people are going through, you see people that are above you, below you, all working to get like up the ladder. It's like it's very infectious. Even though that I'm not super keen on, I'm a little bit like socially anxious to get like new conversations going. Like, it still happens pretty easily for me, because it's just like it's that type of place. Here's much more UK, but just because it's like pure, there's like a little bit more of an atmosphere. But there's nothing like Dubai, man. Honestly,
you find like, I guess what you're saying is like, you kind of soak that environment up like a sponge in terms of like the atmosphere out there. So
for sure.
Did you get that in the UK at all, or did you like maybe reach a ceiling with it?
Yeah, for sure. I think that's kind of was a big reason why I left. I mean, of course, there's amazing reasons to be in Dubai and whatever, but like, you know, like to get to that like true next level and on all aspects, I needed to be around it more. At the time, it was me, TM Cycles, Joe Brightman, training in Crayford Weights, where everyone else was a quote unquote normie, like not doing what we're doing, right? They have normal jobs. They're not talking about content, how to make it better, or you know, what new training phase are we going to go through? That was it. So when Tom left, there was just me and Joe, and then Joe was moving around a little bit, thinking about going to Dubai. Then it was just me, and I was kind of doing that just me for 6-7 months, and I was in that blur, and I went, oh shit, I'm actually just not really too happy. Like, I'm just kind of like, I'm going in, I'm training to failure, but like, that's it. And I'm just like ticking a box and leaving. I wasn't like, I used to love those sessions with those guys. I used to just want to stay longer, get there earlier. And I noticed I was losing that a little bit. And I think in the game of bodybuilding, like, in the fine margins where when you got the genetics, there's also someone working as hard. So you got to work hard as a mandatory. Like, I wasn't doing myself the service. So I needed to be around other people. And then you've been, I mean, you've been to B1 Binos,
Yeah.
like there's 50, 60 athletes there, you know.
Yeah. Because I remember like maybe, I'm not even sure what time this was, but I know from like very early on with yourself, I don't think 1MR was even a thing, or might have been in the background. Like the MJ's days when I used to pull up and I used to be training in MJ's, and obviously Jordan and Corin were in there as well.
Yeah.
I would have thought maybe that was a time where you were probably getting very like inspired, maybe around those guys, seeing those, because they were like where,
for sure,
not where you want to be, but kind of like the trajectory.
Sure. Yeah, like Jordan was like my idol back in the day. That was literally, and he was my coach for a long time as well. So seeing him train, and then it was Joe Ballinger, a few of his friends, of all whom I felt like were absolutely huge at the time, and when you're in that little MJ's gym, it's like a room. It's like, all right, cool. And you're like, oh, this is atmosphere. This is motivation from other people. I've not experienced this before. So
that was a very cool time, MJ's, man. That little
unique
2-year period.
And JP just kitted out of all the stuff that he wanted, and we were all just like, "Come on, JP."
Yeah, you boys were loving that because you were training there on a daily. I was just going once or twice a week.
yeah, it was so good.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. So with Canada, then, what would you say is your favorite parts about being over there, apart from pure?
The weather is and the area that we're in, like big on just like space, green, water. Free for like have some time on your own, mental health space.
Yeah,
so I think for me it puts me in a real nice place.
Is it like a little piece of home where you're kind of living?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's the only place that I've been over the years I've been traveling. Like I've spent months in Thailand, I've spent months in the US. I've been around. Yeah, and this is the only place I'm like, oh, I could settle here. You know, this is nice. So far anyway.
What location is it? What like area?
It's like west of Toronto.
West of Toronto, okay.
Like an hour, like drive west of Toronto.
So how far is Pure from you?
10 minutes.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Because when me and Carl stayed in Toronto, I think Pure was like maybe 40 minutes, 45 minutes. Is that about?
If you're in Toronto, it's about 45 minutes. So I just live in the town that it's in, just down there. And there's a really nice town down here. So.
Oh, yeah, that's sick. That's awesome. Right, taking it back then quickly, because we are on time today, because Josh is a busy guy. So in terms of like your ambition right now, because you are a very ambitious guy, I can see it through and through. Where did that start? Does that come from your parents, or is it kind of something that's just developed over time?
There's probably some influence from my parents. My dad always had a not an obsession, but like it was a topic of conversation. What it would be like to earn a shitload of money, right? I'm sure everyone's had that conversation. What would you do if you won the lottery tomorrow? What would you buy? Like we had that conversation all the time. Yeah. He'd always buy something that's a little bit out of his reach to try and like take himself to the next level. Yeah. Didn't work out for him, but
had a little bit of pressure to get more money in.
You know what I mean? Like I remember a time we had like a Porsche 911, but I knew that it was killing him to do it monthly. And then got like 6 months into it and he was like, I gotta give this back, I can't do this. Like, but he always used to will it into existence type of thing. So I think that's where I got that bit. Obviously, like just traveling, like being in Dubai quite a lot, I understood that there was a big wide world out there. And I knew that it wasn't going to happen for my parents. Like no disrespect, like my mum's a teacher and my dad's, he blew all his money that he earned. So it doesn't, like, you know, for me, like I knew I had to do it on my own. And I was probably just at the point where I was like, I'm just wasting my life right now. But I'm like sat at home smoking weed and doing absolutely nothing. How am I supposed to live this life if I'm doing nothing, right? Yeah. And I had one of those oh shit moments and just started.
What year would you say that would have been then? When did it click? Like,
so university was like a really, really good time for me, but a bad time for me just in terms of like I just had no belief in myself. And that's a continuing issue that I have, is just I didn't have a lot of belief in myself. I couldn't, like back then I was filming at 20, so I was filming 11 years ago on YouTube. And then I would just do it indirectly and I wouldn't look to get better. And I would just like have this huge limiting belief. I knew if I'd sent it back then, it would be a different story right now. 11 years ago, kid at university, like 5 years of you know, lifting and just training at university would have gone crazy.
Yeah.
And I just had this just huge block in me for so long, and it used to just kill me. Like, and I'd go around, why am I like this? Why am I like this? And I don't know. Eventually, I was just at such a low point. I was like, I need to. This is just terrible. Like, I'm just actually can't do anything. Like,
Yeah.
I couldn't do anything. I couldn't do anything. Couldn't apply myself to anything.
Yeah.
So I just had to figure out a way to get out of it.
Just make the jump. So what year would you say would it be? Like, are we talking that time around MJ's where you kind of started like really concentrating on pushing?
Yeah, exactly. That was about 2000. Wow, it's going to be a long time ago. I think that was about 2016, 17-ish.
Oh, okay. So before that time, then I would have thought, yeah.
And I finished uni. I started pushing it probably early 2015. I was like, all right, okay, this is going to be a job.
Yeah.
So I need to do this. When I was filming a lot in there, doing the YouTubes every day and Instagram, and
Yeah.
that was like the beginning of the rise.
I remember, I think I watched one of your vlogs once, and you said this was quite recent as well. This wasn't around that time. This was maybe the last 2 or 3 years, perhaps. I remember you saying that you needed to start treating the social media and the filming. I think it might have been when you took Loki on.
Yeah, maybe.
It was like, I need to start taking this seriously. So that's what I think that was the conversation that you maybe took Loki on as a full-time videographer, content creator or whatever, and then obviously ramping up. So that there's definitely been a scale up in terms of your content that you're putting out there. Have you seen a reflection on the back end of that with business and 1MR and everything?
Yeah, that? For sure.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, I guess it's just no secret. The more effort you put into something,
of course, yeah,
the more you're going to get out of it. And yeah, like to come to that realization of like, I need to treat this like a business. Well, how do you grow a business? What are the points you're trying to get across? What are you selling? Like, you know, so I had to start thinking about that a little bit more. And yeah, it was a no-brainer doing the full-time content thing.
Yeah.
It was just trying to get the right environment to do it. You know, now I've got someone who can come around the world with me, so it works perfectly.
Yeah, yeah. And he's obviously loving that to the max, probably.
Me, 21 years old, like he's living the dream.
Do the fucking dream, you prick. Obviously, you started out in the natural circuit with bodybuilding and that. With regards to obviously switching over and going on to PEDs, did you see like a difference in how people were treating you in the game?
Yeah, I did. In both ways, actually. Like, I had a lot of people who would like obviously support the fact that I was so open and would kind of blow smoke on my ass for no other better word of it.
Yeah.
But then you just have the opposite side of things, which you've not experienced before, which is like, you're not on PEDs, you look shit. Like, I'm like, you know, so that kind of thing was new as well. So it was kind of strange. It was like push and pull. So sometimes, and especially when I was young at the time, I was like, oh shit, yeah, this is cool, man. I'm taking steroids. Like, people would be like, yeah, it's sick, man. And I'd be like, cool, I can feel that. And then the other time I'd be like, wow, is this worth it? Because these guys say I look shit. Like,
yeah,
what should I do?
What was the moment that made you take the jump then? Was it just like your ambition within competing or peer pressure?
Yeah, I think I just wasn't like, I absolutely love this. I want to do everything I can to be literally the best in the world. That's literally it, to be the best in the world. And that was my goal back then as well.
Yeah.
I'd competed a few times naturally in unassisted events, and I was doing pretty good. But I'm a realist. Like, I was so far off the guys that were winning the overalls. I'm like, wow, how am I going to do this? All right, let me take 2 years off. I'm going to do 2 years off. I'm going to give everything that I can. So 23, 24, 25. We've got about 20 months in. And I was looking at pictures from 20 months ago, and this is being significantly stronger, feeling like I'm bigger, maybe 5-6 kilos heavier on my all-time heaviest weight. And I went, oof, that's hard to see the difference that is, you know? And I'm like, this is not going to be what these guys are at the overall. And that was 25. So kind of had that thing in me where I was like, oh, wow, this really isn't going to happen. Like, I was much more mature as well over that 2 years as well.
Okay.
Less kind of in the clouds thinking, no, I'm going to be the natural king. Like, I'm going to be the first natural IFBB pro, that type of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, oh, my bubble burst a little bit. And I was like, oh, okay, this actually isn't possible. So I had to start having the conversations with the people close to me, and
Yeah.
then they'll like, you know what, you're gonna regret it. Because and it's true, I wouldn't regret it. If I was bodybuilding now 6 years later, still natural, like, oh my God, and be like 31 and think, fuck, I shouldn't be starting steroids at 31. So like I'm glad that it happened at the time.
Yeah, definitely. Was there with your coaching, were you kind of in the like niche of like natural coaching, or were you at that time?
No, yeah, I was natural coaching, yeah.
Natural coaching. So did you see, obviously, I'm sure when you jumped on PEDS that there were people coming to you that obviously wanted to use as well. Did you see like the natural guys kind of go away from you, or did you continue? Or
yeah, there was a weird period because I didn't coach people on PEDs for maybe like 2.5 years, I want to say, because I was like, it was a really big thing for me. So I just assumed that for everyone else, it was a really big thing. And I'm like, you know what? I need to know this thing if I'm going to do it, if it's going to be that big for them. I've come to realize that for some people, it's like taking some multivitamin in the morning. I was like, all right, okay.
Yeah.
So I didn't coach people on steroids for like 2 years. So I always pretty much marketed myself like I was talking to natural people.
Okay.
I didn't say that I was natural. I never did that, obviously, because I documented it all. But I still was like, you know. By the way, I've spent like the last 6 years of my 6.5 years natural. By the way, I've spent 6 years of 7 years natural, and I did that for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then once I realized that I've got good enough knowledge by 2.5 years of taking PEDs, taking a few modules, and learning about it, I was like, all right, cool, I can do like the basic stuff now, and then tape it up.
Yeah.
But yeah, like in that kind of gray area where I still market myself as natural, I still have people like, I think I want someone who knows a bit more about natural bodybuilding. I'm like, I am natural bodybuilding. Like,
yeah.
I've only done like 4 injections. What's going on? So I definitely had like a few pushbacks, but actually just because of the way I marketed myself, it wasn't too bad.
Yeah. I suppose if you were doing it in that way, but continually ramming it down their throats that you were natural for so long, then that would have helped. With the coaching, then, did you have like in terms of like influences for your coaching style and things like that? You said you were with Jordan for a while.
Yeah.
It's like the food chain, and where obviously it filters down from like the next coach to the next coach to the next coach.
Yeah.
Who would you say was your biggest influences in terms of like your coaching and maybe even the business now as well? Like when you have expanded that, who would you say would you be your biggest influences?
I think I learned things from all of them, right? So Jordan taught me how hard like a human can push themselves, because I was like up monkey see monkey do at that point.
Yeah.
And I was low food and high cardio, like hours and hours a day, 1,500 calories. I realized how hard someone can push and how hard you can push someone if they really want it.
Yeah.
But then you quickly realize that you couldn't just walk down the street of but you can walk in the gym of bodybuilders and give them Jordan as a coach and then be like, oh yeah, absolutely fine about it. Like, you got to be a type of person.
Yes.
And I realized that pretty quick, and I was like, all right, cool. That's why I know that I can do that to some people if they got like the right kind of formula. Cal was a little bit more methodical, and I was with him for 6 years, like 5 years, maybe 5.5. So so much has come from him, like in terms of just knowledge and the professionalism right at that beginning when they were before the Muscle Mentors, when he was like CR Physique or whatever it was.
Yeah.
That level of professionalism was like almost unheard of back then. 45 minutes getting to know me, 15-page onboarding document, 8 other things to fill in every, like 30-minute Loom feedback. So I was like, whoa, that's before people were doing that stuff. So I learned a lot about professionalism there, and realizing that texting someone, because Jordan, it was just emails. So texting someone like isn't good enough. And then just through that process, you learn what you like as well, and you learn you can mold people different. And obviously, I was coaching over that time, so I had so many different aspects of how different people needed to be coached. So I'm a bit more of a. I listen to like a lot of like business leaders in business, CEOs, team leaders, because it's similar, and just it's very, very like you got to try and get to know what makes that person tick.
Yeah.
And it's similar in coaching. Like, you got to figure out what that little pain point is, why they're really doing this. You just got to try and just strum on it, right? Like, very gradually.
Yeah. Yeah, Carl's definitely great at that, just from personal experience. I know.
Yeah,
So you've obviously picked that up through that
yeah,
as well.
exactly.
Do you do like the whole loom feedbacks and everything with your coaching as well?
Yep. So I do the loom feedback. I don't like rant on. I'm pretty efficient. So I don't give someone like a 30-minute essay every single week.
Yes, you ain't got time to do it, man. You're fucking flat. You're busy, like, so.
Yeah, I mean, I keep a cap on the amount of people that I can take, so I
Yeah.
can manage the time. I can manage the time for each person. That's fine.
How you found the managing, coaching with 1MR and anything else you've got going on business wise?
Really hard at the beginning. Would notice that like 1MR would drop, and when something drops, like when you're doing relatively like not high turnover, but like a good amount of turnover, multiple 5 figures a month, when you drop, it's like you losing 10 grand like a month, so it's a big difference. And then the same thing with coaching. I'd be like, oh, hang on, all right, what's going on here? Oh, I'm just juggling too much. So now 1MR could run without me in it at all.
Okay.
The only thing that I do is like product development and the sampling and trying to make the actual products.
Yeah.
Because that's where I'm super interested in, the thing that like makes me tick. Managing numbers, stock, inventory, cash flow. I ain't got it. I've been trying. I ain't got it. I fuck up the finances. I have done for years. So
at least you got to yourself, isn't it?
I mean, I tried like literally 5 years, and I've lost tens of thousands of pounds making mistakes. I just don't have that brain that works that way. For me, it's like obsession over like making a perfect product. So I just have someone who runs all that, have someone who does all of my like social media and everything else like that, emails.
Yeah.
I obviously like have the final say because I want it to be still true to me and the brand. But that can pretty much run without me doing anything now.
You remind me of Ben Francis from Gymshark with like the way you've said what you just talked about there.
Okay, yeah. When he stepped down from CEO.
When he stepped down, because I did a bit of work with some of the athletes in the early days with my and stuff, and got to know Ben a little bit. And yeah, when he started delegating and getting all these guys in that could do that job a lot better,
Exactly.
That's exactly what you just reminded me of there. So that's a power. Was that something that you had seen him do, or was it just something that kind of came with conversations from the business?
Well, I definitely knew that it was the right thing to do. My little like personal quirk of things that I'm into is like I said, business leaders. So I will type in like morning meeting, lawyer morning meeting, and I'll just see how they talk, for example. And I could see through those people that's there's so many benefits to working like that.
Yeah.
So I basically just adopted it all.
Just the delegating thing, and
I think it's very clear that if you got someone who's worked X amount of time in a very specific thing, like they're going to be considerably better. And I think I wasted enough time. More importantly, like I wasted enough time doing the other shit. And like, even though I could watch some team leader meeting where they're talking about delegating the work they threw out, and I'm like, you know what, that's what I need to do. When it's your little project, you still get a bit like pig-headed and hold on to it a little bit longer.
It's your baby, innit? So
exactly. But when you see that baby like slowly die, which I did in 2023, 2023, like I saw that slowly die over like 7 months. I was like,
really?
shit.
So just last year?
Yeah, last year, up until January was okay, February was okay, and then from March till about November, maybe October, revenue just went down like 10% every month. Right. Literally, like by the end of it, we were 70-80% down on our total revenue. Shit. And I was just kind of like, okay, well, I've done something wrong here, and that's just because I was just juggling too much. I was letting the core brand slip. I was letting the messaging slip. I was letting the I didn't do anything to bring the company forward. Like I didn't think about ads or email marketing. I didn't think about bringing on athletes. I didn't think about trying to keep stepping forward. I just went, wow, this is banged. Like quite maybe a little bit arrogantly in hindsight.
Yeah.
This is work. And then it just simmered down. I was like, shit, what do I even do? And I realized I don't even know what to do. So I need people to come and help me. And that was when I started to like bring the team in. But that was hard because when you lose that revenue and you think I need a team to help me, and you bring up your expenses, like I literally just lost money for like 6 months last year.
Yeah, okay.
Every single month. But eventually, like, and then you don't hire a team and then tomorrow it works. You hire a team and then in like 3-4 months of paying them, it starts to work.
Have you seen a difference like now? Wait, are you
So
like
now we're back to like, okay, cool. We're back on
back in business?
earning actual profit, which was the main thing because we weren't for so long.
Okay.
And that was just yeah, big mistake. Just doing way too much. Just like, you know, when I had like a good profit month, I was like, cool, what we spending this profit on next? Like, let's just, you know, and it wasn't I needed to be like, well, can someone with a job who delegates where profit goes tell me what to do? Because that's much more.
Yeah, that's wise. That's wise. What how many staff do you have then with 1MR now, roughly?
So I'd say 1, 2, 3, 4. I'd say 4 people, including the warehouse, but the warehouse would like hire all the pickers and do all the refunds and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
But yeah, I used to have like 7 or 8 people, and that just was like the opposite. Then I delegated way too much. I lost like a little bit. So that was that 6-month process of hiring them.
Yeah,
I had to like figure out like actually how much I need to be in for it to still have the good core message, and then
where did the 1MR come from? Was it just like you like brainstorm the hell out of the name and stuff?
I didn't at all. So I used to call it JBF Brigade, which was Josh Bridgman Fitness Brigade. I used to call it Brigade so people could. I knew that as a coaching brand, I needed people to feel like part of something in the community. I knew that was a thing like back then, 8 years ago. So I called it like Brigade. So, oh, you part of the brigade? Maybe a little bit lame right now, but at the time I was like, yeah, this is it. So I just put on t-shirts, and then it was at that time that I saw Christian Guzman go from CG Fitness to Alphalete. And I wasn't really a fan of Alphalete at the time.
Yeah.
But when I saw him explain the reasons why, I was like, oh, I need to figure that out. Because it's just like, if it's attached to your name, you do something wrong, you fall off the place of earth, you get tired, you don't want to do it anymore, like the brand goes. It's attached to your name, it's only going to go as far as you can go. So you're going to try and think of something similar where it encompasses a community, but just away from you. So I was like, right, okay. I need to think about that. Alphalete. Oh god, that's good. And I'm like trying to think of things that rhyme with Alphalete, and I'm like, okay, no, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
And I just went, oh yeah, what was that thing that me and my friend used to say to each other in the gym? Back in, not in the gym, back in university. I had a little bit of a hard time with just like doing the lectures, going to exams and all that. And I used to just sit there and be like, with my head in my hands, and my friends would walk in and be like, you're right. I'd be like, oh. And he'd be like, it's just one more rep, mate. It's just like in a gym. It's just one more rep. That's all it is. Just treat it like the gym. And I went, that's a metaphor for life right there.
Yeah.
So I just went, all right, cool, 1MR.
Yeah. Have you seen the one more rep t-shirts on fucking Boohoo?
Yes, I get sent them all the time. Hey, I think they just target people who follow 1MR.
It's just clicked in my mind because I went on holiday, so I was looking for like cheap like t-shirts to go away on holidays, and I remember seeing one more rep, and I was like, I'm sure that's a thing.
I know. The thing is, I have the trademark for 1MR, not
one more rep.
Not one more rep. So I can't really do anything about it.
So they definitely fucking piggybacked off the back of your brand. So you've got to take that as a little like.
Yeah, I'll take it. Yeah, Boo, basically like.
Yeah, that's definitely come from you because no way would they just think of that.
Yeah.
No way. But I've only just realized that's fucking mad. What's the plans with 1MR going forward then?
So
everything you can disclose, obviously.
Yeah, so I just want to keep building it, obviously, into a household name in every. I mean, it's already in so many gyms in the UK. When I go in Dubai, it's in nearly every gym that I go in. Literally every gym I've been in, someone comes to me and got 1MR, or it's a very particular place. So if I can do that in more places across Europe, which requires European hub, and then eventually US. Even Australia, like if I can make it like a household name, I want to keep expanding. I basically just want to solve bodybuilding problems for good. I don't know if you've seen the travel drop that we've got coming out next week.
I've not.
Might be good for you, by the way. So we have body weight scales, which are like this.
Okay.
Rather than like the big squares. They're light, they're effective. I use them everywhere I go. I've got them with me now. We've got food scales that are super small as well. We've got Tupperware tub, we've got spork, we've got a little some sliders, and we've got a travel plug that has every travel on it. So it's just like an all-in-one bodybuilding package. Are you going where you compete? All right, cool. Well, you can just take all this stuff.
That's mint.
and we're just going to try and fix all those bodybuilding problems, right? Whether it comes from like, okay, well, maybe we'll get black sheets because people need their tan fixed, right? And maybe we'll find, you know, whatever, something to get tanned in. Just little things like that that I eventually want to try and just plug the hole of and become that household name in.
Yeah, that's
rather because everyone just goes to Amazon. I'm like, well, you don't need to go to Amazon. You come to the one-stop shop of 𝘗𝘳𝘰𝘶𝘥𝘭𝘺 and you've got everything you need for bodybuilding ever.
That's cool, man. That's very good. Yeah, I'll definitely be purchasing one of those, bro. Well, if I'm continuing bodybuilding, I'm not sure I'm fucking doing it. It's up in the air. It's like 4 shows, so fuck knows what I'm doing. Yeah, that's very cool, man. With prep then, taking it, because we've got, say, like 15, 20 minutes. You've started prep. How many weeks do you know?
This is coming to week 5 now.
Week 5. How many weeks are left?
It's about 11 for the first one and 14 for the second one. And the first one I'll be ready. 11 weeks for the first one.
Yeah. What's the first show? Have you put it out there?
Yeah, I don't mind talking about it. Tupelo Pro is in Mississippi.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Have you done a show stateside before?
I've done Texas and Florida before.
Was that year before last or last?
2022, yeah. 2022.
I thought so, yeah. So that's the first show, and then second one is...
I got 2 in Texas, which are the end of August and the beginning of September.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to go from Mississippi to Texas for a month and just stay in Texas.
That's cool. There's a UK Pro show. Is there a men's physique UK Pro show as well?
I'm doing Classic this year.
Classic, okay. I didn't know this, bro.
Yeah, I'm getting the legs out.
That's sick, mate. So it's the first time doing Classic now, yeah?
Yeah, first time doing Classic.
You've talked about it. You've obviously talked about it over the last couple. I didn't realize that you're doing Classic, mate. So that's...
Yeah.
So talk about that then in terms of like the transition from men's physique to Classic. What's been the main reason?
The main reason is I don't think I'm ever going to be good enough in men's physique to achieve what I want. And I think if you took the top 3 in men's physique and told them to do a front double bicep, I reckon I'm beating them personally. Yeah. So I'm like, all right, cool. What does that tell me? Right, maybe I'm not fully suited. You know, I ain't got those big bubbly muscles and perfect 8-pack abs, and you know, some of those guys like Ryan Terry's abs, like Ali Bilal's abs. Like I ain't got that. They're wonky. They're hard to connect to them for me. But when I throw a vacuum, like, oh, I got a big chest and a big chest cavity and a small waist. I'm like, all right, cool. That makes a lot of sense. And realistically, I just was never like feasibly going to be big enough in Classic until I went, I'm not super far off. I'm like I'm like 12, 15 pounds under my weight cap. And that was last year. Okay. All right, well, that's 2-3 years away from filling out that weight cap. I'm like, all right, that'd be interesting to see. So I just, I think it's very hard for me to like chase something thinking that I am just never going to achieve what I think I can achieve. So I just stopped. Yeah.
You're with Jon Jewett now, yeah?
With Jon Jewett.
How long have you been with him?
It's over a year now. I started in early May last year, so just over a year.
So have you seen much of a difference in terms of like coaching styles from, even if we go back to Jordan, Cal, John? Yeah. So I would say those are the 3 main coaches you've had. Yeah. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So, yeah, I would say there is some differences, which is nice to see, because it would have been nice to have a carbon copy. I think it would have been strange. I should have just stayed with Cal otherwise, but I needed something fresh. So yeah, a few changes on the training front, just in terms of like changing the intensity that I would train at, the amount of volume that I train at, which was kind of nice. Have a little bit of a change. But in terms of like the coaching style, very calm and a little bit passive, just a little bit like, right, this is what's going to happen. This is what we're going to do. And we're just going to cruise in like this, and it's going to be like that. And then that just happens. So, all right, cool. Yeah. So
it make you feel a bit more relaxed that way as well, with that passive kind of style.
It definitely makes you feel a little bit more relaxed, especially in the off season. Right now, I'm a little bit more like, I've never prepped with him. He doesn't know how I lose body fat. So I'm a little bit more like, do I just be like, bro, I lose fat quick. Like, can we just chill out? I've lost like 3 kilos this week. I'm like, I don't need to be losing 3 kilos this week. Like, I'm good. So I kind of want to be like, I think I should do this, but I've not. I've relented. I've stopped from doing that, even though I've been doing this for so long, and I know that's what I need. I'll just let him make his own decisions. And whereas a little bit more passive, I'm like, you know what? Just like tell me like what you think, because I need to know. Whereas he's just like, but it's all good. I'm not worried.
So what's going to be your weight cap with the class?
I think my weight cap's 110 kilos, 242 pounds. But like I'm already 114, so I'm probably going to be 105ish. I'm probably going to have like another 10 pounds to go.
What was your body weight last time you did a show, like men's physique?
I was about 102, 103ish, but just not lean enough really for a classic.
Yeah, okay.
I just didn't need my legs in, so I didn't really bring them in, or my glutes even.
Yeah. That's going to be exciting to see, man. And obviously you documented it all on YouTube for the series.
Yeah, we just launched The Time Is Now season 4, which is crazy. Second episode on Sunday.
Yeah. Is that going to be weekly releases for that?
Yeah, weekly releases for that. And all the way until we're done.
That's sick, man. Loki on the buttons for that.
Yes, sir.
I've got a couple of questions that came through on that Instagram post. Let me just up here. One sec. Right, here we go. Well, someone's just said that you've got an incredible personality. Was the change from Cal to John a shock? Well, we've touched on that, I guess. What was the main reason for changing from Cal? I've always wondered. What was that?
I think being in it's a long-term relationship. Felt like that as well when we broke up, honestly. It was terrible. Terrifying, sorry.
Was it emotional, like, when you actually had
Yeah, for sure. I was like shaking on the call. And I was like, what am I doing? I'm like, but it's like a full breakup. I think I learned so much outside of what Cal taught me anyway. And especially the relationship that we had at the time when we've been coaching for 5 years. It's like, just tell me what to do, I'm all good. Like I'm doing all this stuff on the side, so I understand it. I learned a lot from John already.
Yeah.
I just had that little, I need to just trust. I need to get told to do something different for a bit, because it's very, very similar year on year, 5 years. And I understand bodybuilding is that.
Yeah.
But I also knew that there were other coaches doing things slightly differently. So I was pretty intrigued. I think also, and I don't think Cal might be saying, like, I think we missed the mark a few times on prep. Like, I think, I competed maybe 10 times. I can think of maybe 2 that was like, that was it. That was nailed. Okay. Which could be very difficult for me to do that, or it could be completely unrelated from that. But I just wanted to see if I could nail it elsewhere and see what that looks like. And I knew from taking John's courses that it would be a little bit of a different approach.
Yeah.
Deloads, time off, cardio, time off, like diet, things like that, just to try and like keep the body a little bit more fresh. I think I've always been hammered into prep, but also I've always given the Cal like a 10 weeks timeline. I've been like, Cal, we got 12 weeks. He's like, all right, cool. Boom. So it is what it is. I just needed something fresh. Also, I needed to feel like a little kid again. I think when you've been with someone for 5 years, 6 years, you get very, very comfortable, and the power level, while he was still there, it might have been like here, right?
Yeah,
and I was like, I need to be like a little kid again and just be like, yes, sir.
Yeah. You need that authoritative figure as a coach.
For sure.
Yeah, definitely, man. Last question here. Do you find the prep causes a reduction in productivity in terms of the businesses?
Probably the opposite for a bit. Maybe you notice the same, like opposite for a bit, and then when you get to that, like, oh shit, this is fucking hard. Like that's when you're like, all right, I might have to just try and automate things and just hit the minimum effective dose for a couple of weeks or so.
Yeah.
But that immediate Goldilocks zone where you just like come off off season, you think, oh my god, I can sleep well, breathe well, and do more work. I'm good.
Yeah, playing on that. And
then eventually it's like.
Yeah. I did a podcast one of the last episodes with Sam Warburton, the Welsh rugby player.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, he was telling me about this traffic light system that he's got, which I kind of implemented in my prep, where you've got like greens for things that you really want to do. So you have as many greens as you can in a week. So it's obviously keeping you all like positive because it's all green stuff that you need to do. or want to do rather. Then you got the ambers, where things that you don't mind doing, but you kind of have to do them. So you have those kind of sprinkled across your week. And then you've got the reds then, which are things that you definitely don't want to be doing. And then you don't do like more than 1 or 2 of those a week. So I started doing that in my preps. So like,
nice.
Shit that you don't want to be doing, just making sure there's only 1 or 2 in your prep, back end of prep weeks to kind of manage it better, which helped. Because I did the podcast a couple of weeks out and then I started doing it myself, and it definitely worked. So in 11 weeks time for you, mate, perhaps you could implement the traffic light system.
Yeah, that's something I'll bear that in mind.
Yeah. But there we go, man. That's it. We've cut it a little bit shorter than 3, so you can get on with your day and your business.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
But no, I appreciate you coming on. I know it was last minute, but I was keen to get you on. It was just prep. That's all.
Of course. No, of course.
Is there anyone you want to shout out before we
shout out Mumsy if you're listening. We'll leave it at that.
Just Mumsy.
Yeah.
Right. Well, thank you very much, Josh. All the best with your prep. I will be watching the series.
Thank you so much, mate. I appreciate it.
Say what's up to Loki for me.
I will.
He said for me to come and do a season overseas this year, and I'm like, mate, I'm fucking married and I got 2 kids.
Yeah, it's not.
There's more papers are in the post if I fucking come over there for summer. Do you know what I mean? I've got 4 trips to the pro shows on my calendar here, and I think she knows 2 of them. So I still need to have conversations about the other 2 before weekend. So I'm definitely not going to be over. But wish you all the best, bro.
Thank you, mate.
Thank you guys for watching, and please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know who else you'd like to get on. Follow Josh's prep on his YouTube channel, and I will see you in the next episode. Peace.